Once upon a time, there was a miller who had 3 sons. They all lived in a small village. The 2 older brothers were very lazy and left all of the hard work to their youngest brother. When their father passed away, he left them the old mill, a donkey, and a cat. It was up to them to decide how they would share their inheritance. When the funeral was over, the older brothers whispered among themselves and made a plan.
Come here. We have made a decision. We are going to take the mill and donkey. You can take this useless cat and go make your own way in the world.
The youngest brother was left with no choice, so he did as he was told. The youngest brother took his cat and some food for the journey and set off down the road.
What are you good for, Puss? How will I make a living?
Don't despair, Master. Just give me a sturdy pair of boots and a large sack, and I will take care of the rest.
A sack and a pair of boots?
The youngest brother couldn't imagine why his cat needed a sack and a pair of boots, but he brought them anyway. Slipping into the boots, Puss grabbed the sack and ran off into the forest. There, he opened the sack and settled down to wait for a rabbit.
Gotcha!
Taking the rabbit, Puss ran to the palace to offer it to the king.
Your Highness, please accept this humble present from my master, the Marquis of Carabas. Here it is.
I will be glad to accept. Please thank the Marquis for me.
I will.
After that, Puss came to the king every day, bringing a new rabbit he had captured. As the rabbits multiplied, the king grew more and more curious about the mysterious Marquis of Carabas.
There you go.
One day, Puss overheard that the king was planning a picnic by the river with his daughter, the princess. This gave him a brilliant new idea, and he ran back to his master to prepare him.
Master, jump into the river and take a bath.
What? But I don't need a bath.
Just do as I ask. And I will explain everything later.
The youngest brother was confused, but he did as Puss told him. When he saw the king's carriage approaching, Puss began to shout at the top of his voice.
Help! Help! The Marquis of Carabas is drowning! Help! The Marquis! The Marquis of Carabas!
The king was surprised as he recognized the name immediately.
The Marquis of Carabas? We must help him right away!
The king sent his servants into the water to rescue the Marquis.
Oh, what a misfortune.
Oh, Your Highness. Someone has stolen the Marquis of Carabas's clothes.
Of course, this was a lie, and Puss had hidden the clothes away himself. The youngest brother held his tongue and let Puss speak for him. The king felt sorry for the Marquis's plight and called his servants.
Go and bring some clothes for the Marquis of Carabas.
Yes, sir.
When the youngest brother dressed himself in the new clothes, he looked so elegant and glittery that he felt just like a real marquis.
Those clothes suit you well. Come with me in my carriage and I will escort you safely to your castle.
Thank you, Your Highness. Thank you so much.
The youngest brother was very nervous because he didn't have a home, much less a castle.
Trust me, Master, and get into the carriage. Everything will be taken care of.
Puss ran up the road ahead of the king's carriage until he reached a large wheat field that belonged to a horrible ogre. He stopped and called out to the peasants who were gathering wheat.
Good peasants! Lend me your ears. If you will help me, I will rid you of the ogre. So please help me.
Surprised, the peasants gathered to listen.
Tell us, what do you want us to do?
When the king's carriage comes down this road, the king will ask you who this land belongs to. Answer him that it belongs to the Marquis of Carabas. Okay?
Having settled that, Puss hurried off in the direction of the ogre's castle. When the king's carriage passed the wheat field, the king got out and asked the peasants,
Who does this land belong to?
and the peasants responded with one voice.
It belongs to the Marquis of Carabas.
The king nodded and smiled. Meanwhile, Puss arrived at the ogre's castle and went inside.
Greetings, sir.
Who are you?
I serve the noble Marquis of Carabas. He is on his way here, bearing rich gifts for you.
Is that so?
It is. It is true that you possess great magical powers.
What? Do you dare to doubt my powers, insignificant worm?
I just hope to have the honor of seeing it for myself. I heard that you can transform into any animal.
A piece of cake. Watch and tremble. Ha.
Oh, sir, that is too frightening. Oh.
The ogre came back to his original form.
How did you like that? Do you doubt my powers now?
That was very impressive, sir. But I am sure you could never turn into a small animal, like a mouse.
What? Nothing is impossible for me. Watch.
With those words, the ogre transformed himself into a tiny mouse. Quick as a flash, Puss pounced and captured him. And he popped the mouse into his mouth and swallowed it whole. Just at that moment, the king entered the castle.
The Marquis of Carabas welcomes you to his castle.
The king and the princess were stunned by the beauty and splendor of the castle.
Marquis, your castle is indeed grand and your lands are prosperous. Would you accept my daughter's hand in marriage?
The youngest brother and the princess had a magnificent wedding and lived happily ever after in the ogre's beautiful castle.
And it's all thanks to me.